Hi, I'm Christopher Rufo, and you may know me from such things as inventing the critical race theory panic and being the driving force behind DeSantis' hostile takeover of this very university, your university. You're welcome. When I went to college back at Georgetown, my homeboys called me Lil Roofy, probably because I raised the roof at all the parties I threw. So that's why I've opted to call this orientation video Roofy Rules. And herein, I'm going to introduce you to 3 rules for succeeding in college courses and college life here at Florida's illustrious New College. Roofy rule number 1. If you think you're losing an argument, try to use a different word for the same thing. I learned this back when I was a research fellow at the Discovery Institute, which is the think tank that invented the concept of intelligent design. What our groundbreaking research found was that when you called yourself a creationist, secular elites would laugh at you and keep you from teaching the truth of creation in school. But if you called yourself an intelligent design proponent, everything would be peachy. Just as long as you didn't get too specific about who the designer was. But make sure you know how to use the find and replace function in Microsoft Word. Because if you don't, you might lose your case. Or, make an F on your paper. Roofy rule number 2. If using a different word doesn't work, try changing the meaning of the same word instead. Before I came along, critical race theory was a highfalutin legal theory that you only really encountered in law school or maybe some upper-level philosophy courses. My contribution to the discourse was to stretch the term way beyond its intended meaning so that it referred to any teaching that implied white people had ever done anything bad at any point in history. If you're in Florida now, you can't even mention slavery without having to talk about the good things it brought, thanks to my efforts. But Chris, how is that going to help me, a lowly college freshman? I'm getting to that. Look, I may be a wholesome husband and father now, but I'll be real with you. I was a bit of a ladies' man in college. Huh. What's your secret, Chris? The freshman would always ask. My answer was always the same. Roofy rule number 2. See, when I would wine and dine a fine lady back at my crib, I would always offer them a beer or water, and then I would ask if they wanted a splash of lemon. They nearly always said yes. The thing is that in my head, I had changed the word lemon to mean Ambien and splash to mean 30 milligrams. It wasn't my place to judge them if they wanted a nap in the middle of our date. Maybe they had a condition, And if they needed some chemical assistance to do so, it's the responsibility of a good host to provide that assistance. So I would give her the lemon she asked for, and guess what? I scored every time. Roofy rule number 3. Never take no for an answer. My motto is no yes, no problem. Occasionally, I would bring home a girl who said no to a splash of lemon. Uh-oh, Chris, what did you do then? I tell you what I didn't do. I didn't take no for an answer. If Roofy rule number 2 didn't work, I just fell back on rule number 1, using a different word for the same thing. Since the only thing I've ever known how to cook is spaghetti, I soon noticed that my dates always wanted a napkin.
Can I get a napkin?
So if they said they didn't want a splash of lemon, what I did was replace the words splash of lemon with paper napkin and then use the power of my mind to make them mean the same thing. A paper napkin? 30 milligrams of Ambien. And those are my rules. If you apply them rigorously and faithfully, you will succeed not only at this university, but at life itself. And who knows? If you hand out enough lemons, maybe one of your dates will come back with lemonade. And when I say lemonade, I don't mean the famous sweet and sour beverage. Instead, I have used the power of my brain to make it mean something else. a positive pregnancy test, and deeply religious parents who demand she marry the father.